Good evening, all. Welcome to today's Cancer Healing Journey Talks. Myself, Annie Jose from Community Outreach Team of ZenOnco.io and Love is Cancer. Cancer Healing Journey Talks helps cancer survivors and caregivers to share their journey with vast number of survivors and caregivers who have traveled or been traveling through this journey. This can inspire and motivate them for their faster recovery as well. I would like to introduce today's speaker, Cody. Guys, he's a brain cancer survivor, founder of Giving Hemp, medical cannabis breeder, and he's also a consultant and a speaker. Welcome to today's session, Cody. So over to you.
Hey, how you doing? Thank you
I'm
for bringing
good.
me in.
That's great. So can we know a little bit about what type of cancer you had and what stage was it when it got diagnosed?
So it was brain cancer, glioblastoma. So that's a stage 4 or grade 4 tumor, and was diagnosed in 2006. Had radiation and chemo in January of 2007. Going on into later on in 2007. So yeah.
Okay, so what were the symptoms? How was it diagnosed?
So I had a seizure, or I was having like partial facial spasms, and there was no seizures at that point. I didn't have any vision problems, so the last thing I thought it would be is a tumor. But apparently I had a couple of seizures and was rushed to the hospital, and then they did an MRI, and that's when they found the mass. So this is I don't know if y'all will be able to see it, but this is the scar line. So it starts here, goes over here. The tumor was right here, and it was about the size of a plum. On the MRI, it's really big. So
how was your emotional well-being when you came to realize that you had cancer?
So I had grown up in a church that believed in prayer, and so when I got diagnosed, of course, I hear the word cancer and freak out. But I did place my faith in coming through this thing in God, and his ability to be able to keep me throughout this entire process. So I just handed my whole life over, surrendered myself, because you're in the hospital, you're going to die. It's like, I don't have anything to try and hold on to, like a goal or a dream or something. So I gave it all over to him, and made it out. So it's been 16 years. Not many people make it past 14. So
what treatment you underwent for your cancer?
So I went through surgery. I had chemo, pill form chemo. So for the brain, they don't do IV chemo because of the blood-brain barrier. So it's a pill form. Does the same thing. You still get nauseated, still have vomiting, still lose hair. It's all the same stuff, but it's just a pill form. And then radiation. I did radiation, which is where all this hair loss is. So I still have some hair. I think this one patch was the original one. But all these little scars, all these patches are from the radiation beams that they shot in, and they shot it in at different angles. I have like graphs showing what angles they shot it in at. Yeah, so
did you choose any alternative treatments like naturopathy, Ayurvedic treatment or anything like that?
No, at the time I just did all the standard treatments. I did not know it also at the time, but when I was on chemotherapy, they gave me a nausea medication, and the nausea medication was Marinol, and Marinol is synthetic THC. So basically, I was getting synthetic THC in me during the time of my treatment, and THC has been shown to be anti-proliferative and anti-angiogenic. So it stops with proliferation, and it inhibits the tumor from getting a blood vessel for food. So during that time, I was undergoing what would be a natural medicine. It was synthetic, but it was still something that was measured or mimicked off of nature. So
who was your support system throughout the treatment?
It was my mother, and really I grew up in Florida, but I was born here, and the whole family is here. So whenever I got sick, I had the whole family around me. My mother is the main one, of course, and my dad, and cousins and uncles and aunts. So.
No. How was your experience with the doctors and the other medical staff?
Oh, the doctors. Actually, my doctors were great. They were all foreign doctors, and that was awesome because American doctors sometimes are too by the book. They don't think outside the box. So my first doctor for the radiation, he was straight out of Gaza, so straight out of the Middle East, and he was Muslim, and he and I had a great conversation and just relationship in that way. And he was the one that told me, don't look it up, don't ask anybody about it, just eat healthily and keep coming to your appointments. And so that was a real big change. He wasn't like, you're gonna die, this is how many months you have, this isn't gonna be good for you, you're gonna be sad and not happy with this whole treatment stuff, which is what another doctor could have done. But he didn't. And so I never looked it up. After I got older, of course, I looked it up, and it's like a 12-month life expectancy. So yeah, I'm glad he didn't tell me. Sorry about getting emotional. Yeah, just going back. Keeping it real, as they say.
Yeah. So what were the things that gave you happiness throughout the journey?
So a TV show I found, Psych, friends, and meeting new people, meeting other survivors, learning more stuff. I had time to learn history and learn different things that kept my mind busy. Went to Bible studies with friends, and yeah, just basically lived a normal life as much as I could during that time.
There might be some times, right, when you feel like it's too much to handle, but you still don't want to give up. So what things kept you motivated during those times?
So Psalm 91 is where I rested and where I put everything. It talks about how he who rests in the shelter of the Most High. So resting in that shelter really kept my mind from going crazy. Giving it over to him. So whenever I would feel weird, like neurologically weird, like seizure type weird, I would immediately just go to him. Jesus taught us to pray to our Father, and so I call him Dad. So as soon as I feel something weird, I'm immediately like, Dad, take care of this. Dad, I know you got me. Dad, I know you're for me. You're not against me. Dad, I know you take care of your children. Having that type of relationship and that type of what some would call affirmations. That really solidified me, and especially what is said in Psalm 91. Not that I believed the words, but I believed the person behind the words. And David experienced things that I didn't. David did, but he experienced things that I couldn't and haven't. But gave him the wisdom and insight for Psalm 91, for knowing that type of relationship you can have with God and protection. So in other words, I just gave it all to God.
Did you make any lifestyle changes during or after the treatment?
So I didn't change anything at all. I should have. Whenever I got out of the surgery, I was on steroids to keep the brain swelling down. And the nurses didn't say anything, but I was ordering like all the food I wanted to, and I was eating Skittles and all kinds of candy and stuff. Because at that time I didn't know anything about, the whole sugar and cancer connection. Or anything like that. But since then, I've learned a lot about anti-cancer herbs, fruits, vegetables, all that kind of stuff. And so I make juices with all those things that are anti-cancer. And whenever I say anti-cancer, I mean like anti-proliferative, where they've been shown to be anti-proliferative. The compounds from, so like quercetin. What else? Well, I actually have a bunch here, but I don't have to necessarily bring it up and cut into this. Yeah, since I already brought it up, white willow bark, things like that, just stuff that is natural, that has been found to be anti-cancer. So.
Do you think cancer has changed you in a positive way?
It's definitely made me more aware of suffering. So, yeah. And that's why I started the nonprofit, because I realized that if this plant that I didn't have at the time, but what I now have, and what I share with other people, that if this plant can do what we see it doing in other people's lives, and I want it to be able to start giving it to people so that we can start getting data back, because they say we don't have any data on any of this stuff. But I know we do. It's just a matter of also collecting it in a systematic way that would be pleasing as case studies to the authorities, so to speak, the legislature.
Do you think cancer has changed you in a positive way?
Yes, it definitely has. I'd say that it's definitely humbled me, for sure. It's changed my perspective towards other people, and their, of course, plights, their diseases. And it really had me look more into disease and diet and lifestyle and all that kind of stuff. And if I hadn't gotten sick, I wouldn't have looked into cannabinoids or looked into alternative kind of treatments, which wouldn't have led me to cannabinoids, which is cancer molecule. I mean, cannabinoids are cannabis molecules. Um, and so in learning about those and helping patients and seeing the difference it makes with them and myself, I started the nonprofit Giving Hemp course, which is giving hemp to cancer patients in exchange for their data, which is basically just self-reported nausea, vomiting. Like, give us your markers of something we can mark and be able to measure from there out, and follow them through their journey. Something I wish I had. So it definitely helped and is going to continue to help in that regard, as far as the experience of having cancer and then reaching out and helping other people in response.
What will be your message to cancer patients and caregivers out there?
Definitely, definitely, just don't focus on the diagnosis. Keep focused on your treatment plan. Definitely change up your diet, get more focused on your health and your relationships. Don't waste time trying to say things to other people that they wouldn't understand. A lot of people don't understand the diagnosis, and they can't. For the caregivers out there, of course, you already have the heart to be able to take care of cancer patients in the first place, and just keep doing it. And I know it can be discouraging with loss, but if you're in the trenches, stay there, and because we need you. And with cancer patients also, what I'm working on with Giving Hemp is to get cannabis molecules as an adjunct or complementary treatment in cancer care, and eventually as a primary treatment if we can get it there. We just want to see what's possible. So definitely, I mean, I feel weird throwing in an advertisement, but I mean, go check out Giving Hemp. You can see the mission and some of the data, some of the sources that I use. I'll be making more videos. I need to make a campaign video. That way more people can understand what it is. So, I know that it's not legal everywhere around the world. So I don't want to encourage anybody to break the law, but I believe this is going to be the future of cancer care.
So, did you join any support group? Or what do you think is the importance of the support group?
Because I had my family and I had a few patients that I knew, I didn't go to any support groups, and it really, I don't know if it would have helped or hurt. I really don't know. Because like I said, with the doctor and him telling me to not look it up, that was helpful. And I think if I would have gone to a support group, it would have been more like, oh yeah, you have this disease. Oh man, I'm sorry, you're going to be dead in 15 months. So I stayed away because I just didn't want to, I didn't want to hear anything that would have affected my mindset from there, and would have been more discouraging and tried to trip me up. Yeah, that was my experience, at least early on, with support groups. Now I've started a support group that's going to be at a location here, a storefront location. I partnered with a hemp company, a grower and producer, and so they have a storefront they just got, and they've blessed me with space there, and they've allowed me to have time on Fridays from 6:30 to 8:30. But the problem is we're snowed in and the roads are all ice, so I had to cancel tonight's first event, what would have been the first event. Today's World Cancer Day. So it just happened to be the same day, and then of course we got iced in, so I canceled the event. I don't want anybody trying to get there. But that's what we're going to try and do. My first time, I've never done anything like it, so I don't know how it's going to turn out. But to have a community group / support group for cancer patients and survivors. And it's in a hemp store, so they can get anything that they need or want to know about there. A lot of patients are being told to go there, not to the storefront, but being told to use hemp products. But there's so many questions, and we can't really tell people, oh, go to this store, use this product. So I just partnered with a company that already had all that I could trust. I've known the owner since I was 14, So yeah, it just worked out. It worked out big time.
So, like there are various types of stigmas regarding all around the world about different types of cancer. So, what do you think about all these stigmas, and how much do you think is the importance of awareness?
When you say stigma, what do you mean?
I mean, there are negative thinkings. So sometimes, some people are too ashamed to talk about cancer. So because they are
Oh
afraid
yeah.
like cancer and very sick, something like that. All these negative beliefs about cancer. So what do you think about those things?
I didn't hear the last word you said. Sorry.
All right, sorry. So some people believe that cancer is a death sentence. So once you have cancer, so they are gonna die. So it's I think like they haven't received any proper information regarding types of cancer, or maybe if you would have received more about or if they would have been more aware about the cancer, then they won't be thinking like that, and they will be more forward looking. So what do you think about the importance of awareness?
Definitely big time. So my dad had colon cancer, and then I got brain cancer. And with the history of the cancer in the family, we did genetic testing, which showed that I have Lynch syndrome, which is a cancer syndrome. And so cancer syndromes just mean that you're prone to developing cancer. You have a higher likelihood of developing cancer over your lifetime as opposed to the normal population. So awareness is big. I think everybody should know what's going on. Whenever I was younger, I was in high school, and my teacher knew my history with my dad, and he said, "Are you going to get any genetic testing?" And I was like, I don't know if I want to know. Like I was 15, 16, something like that. And he said, "Oh, you want to know?" And so, I didn't think about it from there. And then, of course, I ended up getting brain cancer. So brain cancer wasn't known to be a part of Lynch syndrome at the time that I got it. It is now. It's down on, like, there's a list of percentages of types of cancers one can develop with Lynch syndrome. Colon cancer is number one at 80% chance of development, and brain cancer is at number one at 80%. And then the least likely to get is the brain cancer, which is at 1%. So I got brain cancer first, or I got brain cancer, which is the 1%. And so, yeah, I believe that people should be aware of what's going on. You should be, if you have cancer syndromes in your family or any kind of cancer running in your family, be monitored. And my dad was actually told to have my colon removed. So I don't agree with all that, but monitoring is definitely important, just so you're aware. And awareness is important. Awareness not just for the standard of care treatment now, for like chemotherapy and radiation and surgery, but awareness of all the different types of medications and different types of natural herbs and foods that should be encouraged to use during the time of their treatment or diagnosis and treatment. So awareness is huge, because otherwise people will just fall right into what I did and just get diagnosed with cancer out of nowhere. And the stigma part, yeah, I don't know. There's the issue really that I noticed and still notice with cancer patients is that all their friends leave them, and it's not because they don't want them. They just don't know how to handle it. They don't know what to say. They don't know what to ask. So there's not a stigma, but there's definitely a stigma, but from that aspect, it's not so much a stigma as it is a fear or not knowing how to respond to somebody that's been diagnosed. But outside of that, yeah, just a diagnosis period, there is a stigma to it. It's like, oh, you got cancer. And depending upon the kind of cancer that you get, someone could be like, oh yeah, you caused that cancer. So lung cancer, a lot of people get it that haven't ever smoked. Colon cancer, a lot of people get it that don't eat bad. So that's the kind of stuff that we got to deal with. So colon cancer can be led to by a bad diet, but people can get colon cancer in their 20s, and that's not years worth of bad diet that they'll take.
So one last question, Cody. So it will be like, what if you have to summarize your whole journey in one sentence? What would that be?
Yeah, just surrender is really, I guess, where it was at. So not submitting to the fear, and surrender. was my main. I don't know how to put that into a sentence or how to structure it or word it in there, but my greatest encouragement, again, just goes right back to God. I didn't do anything. All I did was follow the doctor's instructions and praying and hoping and hanging out with people, loving people. So I don't know if that necessarily answers the question. I might have to think more if not.
It's really good. Yeah, thank you so much, Cody, for the wonderful session. And yeah, thank you so much for being patient as well. So I'm pretty sure that the session will really motivate people out there who is currently going through cancer. So thank you so much once again.
Yeah, thanks again for inviting me on and wanting to hear my story.